Welcome ladies and gentlemen to SCUM Talkies. This is a brand new mini-series on the channel where I'll be creating a video every Tuesday or Wednesday. This series will essentially cover the Monday dev update that we get every week. This will also include some of the latest videos, screenshots and concept arts from Tomislav. I'm going to talk a little bit what each department are actually covering and giving my own personal opinion on some of the items listed. Today we're going to be covering Monday's dev update number 48, dated the 3rd of April 2023. So let's talk about the programmers, let's talk about what they're doing. Working on the loot rework. Now the loot rework has been discussed various times by various different people on different channels and different platforms. Matovsky, one of the CMs and QAs, dropped the ball on the loot rework in one of my latest live streams. I then had to go and question him about that. He didn't reveal any details. Tomislav has also talked about this, the creative director of SCUM and Gamepires. He didn't go into great detail about it either, but my understanding of the loot rework is that it's going to follow a more logical path. Now, we've already got a logical path in place right now, but I think this is going to be a more refined one, because at the moment you can find military gear and military POIs, and you can find civilian gear in and around the towns and such like that, and you can go to any sort of garage or kind of lock-up garage or mechanical bay and you can find car related items. But there's one thing that I've been noticing quite frequently on various different servers with various different types of loot tables, that's to say different multipliers between vanilla and like 10x and stuff like this, like crazy amounts of loot. The kitchens genuinely don't spawn food, they actually spawn more rags and rag strips than they do food or cooking pots or canned goods. So the rework might be adding a little bit more balance and a wee bit more of a logical path. We've already got that logical route, but I think this is a more refined touch for it. Next is bug fixing. That's quite self-explanatory. The programmers are doing a good job of bug fixing just about everything, well, as much as they can really. So moving on to the next one, working on the cooking rework. This is cool because the cooking rework is going to be awesome. It's something that a lot of SCUM players have been kind of seeking for a very long time. A lot of people have been demanding that the cooking system be fixed. Now it's good that they're reworking it, because the next item is going to be quite interesting, because we're also going to be given a reworked user interface. Now at the moment we do not have a cooking interface. The cooking interface is like, it's essentially get a steak, build a campfire, put the steak beside the campfire, and then you audibly listen for that thing sizzling. You can then hold F on it, or just right click on it if you're in the inventory or vicinity screen. Check taste, and at the far bottom left of your screen it will say warm, hot, raw, etc. And then it will obviously change as time goes on, the closer it is to that heat source. So it will go from warm, and then it will go to hot, and it might go to burning if it's too close. If it's in hot, you're in the sweet spot. It will then go from raw to like kind of just barely cooked, like it's just cooked, and then it will go to fully cooked. That's when you can start eating that steak safely. So this user interface might incorporate a little bit of animation, a little bit of a cool user interface. Basically things are going to look good for the guys and girls who are actually going to be living off the land, hunting, for example, boars and such, getting the meat off of them, and finding fruits and trees and vegetables on the ground, potatoes and such, and actually making proper meals. This will tie in very well with the fatigue system that we've already got right now, because as you know, in order to beat fatigue you need to eat a decent meal, and I think this rework is going to make the fatigue system a wee bit more balanced. Alright, moving on, working on new server settings. Now this is something that I'm very excited for, because as you know, I am a server owner. I do have my own server, as well as Rakit, he has his own server as well, Face Roll Fatality. A lot of server owners are going to be very happy with these new settings. We've not seen any details in regards to them, but I can't wait to see them. It's going to be very interesting what they actually add on top of what we've already got now. Now, this next one, working on server browser improvements. That's a new one to me, server browser improvements. So, this might actually entail a better more refined server browser. You know, when you go into the main game, you can select single player or multiplayer, and then you have to click refresh in order to refresh the list of servers. This might have something to do with that. We might also get like a filtering system, we might get a better search system. We never know. We don't have any details on this. This is my speculation on it. As I said, I'm just going to give my personal opinion on things. So I think we might get a filter. We might not be able to refresh the list on, selecting multiplayer, which would be really good because I sometimes get tired of that, trying to just get back into a server that I was just in. I know I can click continue, but it's better if I want to just make a new character. Do you know what I mean? Now, next one, optimizing the Sentry NPC networking. This is going to be interesting because eventually, as you guys saw from Tomislav's leak, or recent leak actually, in a video that I posted not very, very long ago, we're getting new sentries, more deadlier sentries, and they look terrifying, they sound terrifying, and the fact that they stop and look around themselves is equally terrifying. So it's going to be really good to see the networking change on the current sentries or the new sentries. I hope they have a little bit more of a broader sense of intelligence, that they can pick things up a little bit better, that they can spot things a little easier. I hope they do balance them as well and make them non-aimbotty. I know they are robots, and I know robots are supposedly supposed to operate at 100% efficiency, therefore providing 100% accuracy on every shot that they take, but I hope there is some form of balance as well. Next, working on the gas and electricity systems. Now, the gas will be related to the petrol stations, so they might actually be reworking the gas. At the moment, when you go to a gas station, if you're not familiar with the gas system, when you go to a petrol station with, for example, a jerry can, or if you're arriving there in your car and you need to fill that car up, you will be charged. If you don't have money in your main account, if you don't have money in your account, you cannot withdraw any of the gasoline from these petrol stations, or these gasoline stations, or whatever you want to call them. I call them petrol stations because that's what they call them here in the UK, Scotland, etc. So you can't withdraw petrol if you don't have any money. It basically makes sense. Next, working on the BCU lock. Now, I did a little personal opinion, a little speculative little thing on this. So the BCUs, I believe, are data chips. They are in fact things that hold critical data. For example, things that your character learns. Now this ties into what Tomislav posted recently, which was cookbooks, where you could learn new recipes. Now, I'm very excited about this because if we can learn new recipes in terms of cooking, we can also learn new recipes for survival items. We can learn new recipes in terms of what things that we can craft mechanically as well. So, will there be a limit? Will there not be a limit? I don't think we should put a limit on this. I think you should be able to find engineer manuals, survival manuals, weapon manuals, improve your ability to clean guns, improve your ability to repair your cars or create things for your cars. Engineering, creating better suppressors or silencers, creating better sights. Do you know what I mean? It'd be really cool to see. It'd be really interesting to see. In the survival side of things, they could put even more traps into the game, and the only way to get those certain traps is to find that individual survival book where you learn it and your BCU records it, and then that's the recipe unlocked. I think it would be cool. But going back to the BCU lock, they're working on it at the moment. They're going to make sure that it's actually fully functioning. They keep talking about SCUM 0.85, so halfway through the development life cycle of 0.8 towards 0.9, and they are also working on a trailer as well, so this is going to be interesting. The last thing on the programmers list is working on the smoking feature. Now, this ties into the character creation, right? So when you create your character, at the very bottom of the first panel, I believe it is, or the first window that you're given when you create your character, which is when you're setting your general attributes, I believe that they are going to start implementing the flaws into this game, because at the very bottom, as I said, there is an item or a drop-down box that is technically called flaws. Now, this could be smoking, as the programmers are working on right now. It could be alcoholism, it could be something completely different, something completely different, like drug addiction, that kind of thing. Or if you're just an arsonist, or I don't know, someone who steals socks, I don't know, some sort of flaw. But that's what they're working on right now, and that's a general list of what the programmers are working on, and my general opinion of what these things could be, including. So next, we're going to talk about the level designers. Alright, just as we did with the programmers, top to bottom, here we go. Setting up spawners for the loot rework. So this ties in with the loot rework. They'll be setting up different spawners, crates, new drawers, new things like that we can actually go through and search. Again, not a lot of information regarding this, but I think we'll be getting more information for the loot rework as we progress towards 0.85, so that's something to look forward to. Next, working on the abandoned city level design. Now, the abandoned city level design, or the abandoned city itself, is the city situated right beside the nuclear power plant. This is the one that looks just like Chernobyl, aka Pripyat. We saw nice little photos from Tomislav regarding this place with the Azure baths, the Ferris wheel that we're also accustomed to seeing in the likes of Call of Duty, Stalker, and every other game that kind of features that unique landmark. So this is going to be another city, so we're going to have 3 cities in total, or 2.5 if you want to call it that. So we've got Samobor, which is the one in the northeast, or the northwest, sorry, towards the Delta sectors, and now we will have a city just outside of the nuclear power plant, so this could be very close to the Charlie 1 town. Something to look forward to in terms of looting and such, so this is going to be lots and lots of fun. And we've also got Novogorod, which is down in the Zulu sectors at the very centre bottom of the map as well. It's like a mini city, it's like a mini version of Samobor, so things to look forward to. Next, bug fixing, self-explanatory, don't really have to go into that. Working on the abandoned city apartment buildings. Now this is cool, because if you've noticed from various towns in some of this, for example Novogorod and Samobor, the cities, or the mini city and the main city, a lot of the buildings look kind of similar. They're kind of carbon copied from each other, and they're subtly changed to kind of fit the overall environment or the overall feeling of that location. So it'll be nice to see that the buildings will subtly change. Maybe they'll be more like Pripyat's buildings, or Pripyat's apartment structures. Very Soviet, very Soviet looking, very uniform with each other, very bland, very bleak, very beige. But that's something to look forward to. This will be really cool to see something a little bit different from the devs, and something a little bit different looking in the game. Next, Atlas Baking the Culture Centre building. I have no idea what that is, but the Culture Centre has been talked about a lot in the dev updates. I've not really seen any information regarding this Atlas Baking the Culture Centre building. I don't know if that's Atlas Baking as in they're actually designing it, or Atlas is a program. I'm not familiar with these programs, but the Culture Centre building is a brand new one that's been uttered a few times, but I've not really seen any information regarding it. It'll be nice to see something a little bit different. Now we're on to working, I would imagine that's supposed to say on, so working on Culture Centre building LOD, again referencing to the Culture Centre. There's probably a screenshot out there that I'm missing. I've not been able to find this, I've not seen a lot of information about it, but a Culture Centre could be just a generic Culture Centre, you never know. Working on the abandoned city road network, so we're going to get a completely new road network added to the city. Obviously they're going to have to chop and change the current road network, which is situated within the Charlie sectors and the Bravo sectors and the Delta sectors as well. That they're all going to have to change to accommodate this new city, so we're going to have a completely new road scheme very soon in that general area. Alrighty, that's about it for the level design. Not much to go on there, just a lot of stuff referencing back to the programmers. Next we're going to be talking about what the art team are doing. So like we did before, we're going to go top to bottom. So let's start on working on the new trailer. The new trailer is going to be for 0.85. This is what my thoughts are pointing towards, because Tomislav keeps bringing up that specific number, 0.85V or version 0.85. A lot of the developers have also talked about 0.85. So we might be getting a trailer halfway through the development life cycle of 0.8, which is cool to see. Now, we've actually already got a screenshot of the trailer itself of a particular character. I'm going to leave it to you guys to name that character in the comments. You can see him on the, you can see her on the screen to the left. Tell me who you think it is. Moving on, working on the new male model textures. I am so hyped for the male models. Overly hyped. Don't take that the wrong way. I don't swing that way. Anyway, the new male models will be really cool because they'll also have the new fashion system implemented on them like we do with the current female models. The current female models, and I use this as an example all the time, the ballistic vests look so good on them, as well as the military boots and the military fatigues or the trousers or the pants, whatever you want to call them, where they're actually tucked into the boots and they look tactical and they look good, and the jackets and the hoodies and everything fits their body so goddamn well. I cannot wait to see them fitting on the male models. It's going to be awesome. It's genuinely going to be awesome. Next, working on the cooking rework assets. Now this could be the assets in regards to the grill, the bowls for soup, the cooking pots, if we can actually fashion our cooking pot. Surely we can make a cooking pot by ourselves, right? Surely we can make that. Now, the assets could include a whole bunch of other things. It could involve a primitive oven. It could involve a thermometer being stuck in meat to check that you're cooking it at the right temperature. It could involve a lot of things. They might add a lot of assets. They might not add a lot of assets. We'll never know until we actually see that update come to fruition. Next, this is one for the bikers, working on the cruiser modular parts. Now we've actually already got a really nice screenshot of the cruiser, and it looks like a police cruiser now, except the shielding on it goes right over the top of your head. So if you're going forward straight towards your target, right, straight towards someone, towards a base, towards a person, towards whatever's shooting at you, they will not be able to hit you. And you've got, I think there's a little visor, a little keyhole right there that you can actually look through. So the cruiser is going to be up armoured. It's going to be super duper armoured. This thing is going to be hard to kill unless you're using an RPG, which is something that they're putting in the game, as well as an AT4, anti-tank 4 rocket launcher. So that will be interesting. Lastly, working on the new sentry animations. As we saw before, the sentries look fantastic, and they do have their own animation set now as well. I'll put that little video on the screen to the left here just so you can see it once more. Essentially, it's Tomislav crawling along the ground, going through the airfield, and the new sentry just decides to show up, decides to rock up. The sounds of the footsteps sound amazing. You won't be able to hear them on this video. I've kind of muted them for the purpose of he used a copyrighted track in the back of his video, Tomislav. But you can kind of see how heavy that this thing is. One key factor I kind of like about the sentries is the fact that it's not one big solid piece. It's in fact two solid pieces that are connected in the very middle. You can see in the body that there is clearly, like, you can see through it. It's only connected via strands. So that might be a weak point. It might not be a weak point. We'll never know until we see this update come to fruition. Anyway, let's talk about what the one sound guy's talking about. So let's find out what their one sound guy is working on. By the way, this is a joke. I think they've got multiple people working on sound. It's just a joke. There's not actually one person. There might actually be a whole department for this. But anyway, working on the new sentry sound design. The new sentries are going to be given a new, as well as new animations, they're going to be given new stompy sounds, they're going to be given new shooty sounds, new kicking sounds, new voice acting or voiceovers, voice lines. For example, the yellow guys or the yellow sentries do the whole, would you like a cookie? I can see your exoskeleton. Don't worry, it's just a game. What other ones is there? There's obviously there's two or three more. I've totally forgotten them, but I hope they get given, or the new sentries get given brand new voice lines, brand new tactical voice lines, comedic voice lines that are a wee bit more intimidating, because they do look intimidating. The black look, the tactical black look, with that kind of big cannon on their left shoulder, as well as their right hand featuring a flamethrower and their left hand featuring a double barrel, what I can only describe as a Gatling gun, a two-barrel Gatling gun. So they're going to be scary. What else is he working on? Working on the new trailer audio. That's quite self-explanatory. So they're going to put music in it. They're going to be putting all sorts of cool sound effects in it. It's going to be fun to watch. Last thing that he's been working on is the hunting rework audio, which means we're going to be getting a new hunting rework, including new audio to go with it. So hopefully we see some information. Hopefully we see some more videos of this hunting rework. I really want the devs to showcase this a wee bit more efficiently. I know they've got people like me to show it off. They've got people at Rake It and Facial Fatality, Mission Impossible, and various other people to show all this off. But I'd really love to see it from their perspective, to show off what they are working on, to see it fully working on their machines. That's just a general ask for the devs. But anyway, that's just about it. And before we conclude, we're just going to round off with the QA team and the community managers are doing their bit to catalogue bug reports from players. They're catching and banning those pesky cheaters, and providing the team with detailed information in regards to performance and optimization as well. So that's been the first of the talkies. I hope you have enjoyed it, ladies and gentlemen. This has been really fun to make. I really like this format where I've got the two screens on the on this video, because it means I can cycle through different things as well. If you want to, leave a like on this video. If you want to subscribe. If you want to see more of these videos, do the first two things I said before. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching, and expect another one next week. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you all another time.